Welcome to SiGMA TV, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined today by Heidi Lofthus, who is HR professional and HR Connect ambassador. Heidi, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we talk about the subject, can you just give us a little bit of information about you, who you are and what you've done?
I'm an HR person through and through. Moved to Malta 11 years ago now, actually. Yes, November 2009, we set off sail to Malta to set up the Maltese division of Redbet, a company that was later acquired by Bonnier, a media house in Sweden, to be acquired again by Mr. Green. That was then acquired by William Hill. During this time and after 10 years of Redbet, I moved to Common, one of Sweden's largest gaming operators, market share-wise. And now I am heavily studying coaching, actually. Yes. So that's
brilliant. That is a very, very colourful career. And I assume that all the way through that you've been working within HR. How does that differentiate between the companies? Has the role changed, or is it just where you're working that's changed?
In Redbet, we got about maximum 100 employees. I think the max we had was 96. Common is of a different caliber with over 550 people globally, 8 different locations with consultants and a different owner, investment company basically. So very different sort of, the raw material and the groundworks are different. But the people and the culture work is still the same and as important.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you a question about that because the gaming industry has evolved. It has changed from what we were looking at 10 years ago to what we're looking at now. And when I was asking Enrico, who you know, about that, he asked me and said to me, you know, that it has changed. It's kind of grown up. Is that what you would say?
Definitely. Moving to Gibraltar as a 22-year-old, starting in CS, in customer support, it was basically all about poker, which you see hardly anything of today. And it was very much little regulated. I mean, the UEG in US hadn't kicked in yet at that time. So it's very much cowboy times, versus now it's much more, both banking-wise and regulation-wise, much more controlled. And obviously, problem gambling and anti-money laundering compliance is the biggest thing now. Definitely.
Well, let's talk about a career in gaming. You know, we talked about with Enrico. We talked about whether it's the right industry for you, but your expertise, of course, through your experience in HR, is being able to guide people about how they can make the most out of that experience in gaming. So let me just ask you a couple of questions. First of all, if somebody's in their job, whether it be a job in gaming or not in gaming, how does that individual know when the right time is to make a move?
Good question. I think everyone has their own drivers, right? And everyone experience different times of their lives. Sometimes you feel like you just want to be challenged, constantly developing new skills or networks and abilities, and that's your motivator. Whereas I'm sure many people can relate, sometimes you just want stability, right? And to operate with confidence. You know, you're the best person doing what you do. You know the ins and outs of what you're doing, and instead of a motivator, it becomes your reward, if you want. And I think that in terms of, you know, knowing if it's time for you to move on, you feel it. I mean, consciously or unconsciously, you would know that something is not really right, or, you know, you might feel an excitement that wants, you know, to move on. It's important to know that grass is not always greener on the other side. But if that's your driver, then go for it. I mean, a little trick that, yeah.
No, go.
A little trick that you can, like a little advice or some help from my end, apply the Sunday feeling afternoon, Sunday afternoon, evening. What does your gut tell you about going to work tomorrow? How's the feeling? How's the motivation? Do you feel stress or anxiety, or do you feel, thrilled? I mean, that's quite a good indicator, and that might be all that you need.
That is a brilliant piece of advice, because of course we all have that Sunday afternoon feeling.
Yeah, simple exercise.
Excellent. I love it. I've never heard that before, but that kind of explains my career to me. So listen, so let's say, you've decided, you've identified that Sunday afternoon feeling. You now know it's the right time to make that move. So how do you prepare yourself for a career move? What's the first step you're going to do?
Interesting topic. Very good topic, and very important. It's not to be neglected in whatsoever way. I mean, give yourself the best opportunities to be really, really good at your new job from day one. And I mean, for that, you need to prepare both practically and mentally. Practically, I mean, all those things, I'm referring to myself now when I've been transiting into a new job. Get all that admin stuff out of the way. I've been focusing a lot of my time on family, get the kids in order, administration, the logistics around the family. Go for that bank appointment. Don't push it up, so that you come, as a clean slate to work, to your new job, and you can really focus on that with as little distractions as possible. So sort out your personal life and organizations around it, so that's sort of behind you. Logistically, I mean, there will be change. Maybe you're just being promoted within the same company, then you need to, think of your new relationship with your manager and your new teammates. But it might be that you're actually swapping into a new company that is located somewhere else. So how are you going to logistically take yourself? How is it going to affect your life in general? Your new job might be in a different city, or, as we see a lot in gaming, you're moving to Malta. Get in contact with those the renting agencies out there. Look for a good house. How are you going to go from work to from your house to work? I mean, these things matter a lot. If there's stress around your personal life going to work, then it will obviously affect work. So be as prepared as possible in terms of personal life, I would say.
I mean, those are such great points. I feel like, Heidi, I could have done with you in my life all the way through my career. It's great listening to what these points that you have. So we talked about
coaching, and then I'll be there with you.
Well, listen, someone's decided that it's time to make the move. It's time to prepare for a career move. They prepared themselves. Just before we look at how they do that, just as a heads up, what are the most common career mistakes people make?
Rushing, probably.
I mean, is there a
Yeah, I mean, now I'm referring to gaming because that's where I have my vast experience. But we see so much of, the growth in our industries, constantly, acquisitions, mergers, companies are constantly expanding, they're reorganizing. We see a lot of examples where the wrong people are being promoted. They're being pushed into positions that they don't really want. So, I mean, naturally, a company grows, it becomes more multi-layered. The best person suited for the job gets now, team leader or manager role. That might not be the best person for the role, so other people decide to leave. They might actually be the key people that you need in a department. But I mean, to be honest, this is more management mistakes. For an employee, I would say, decide what it is, sort of, what's your career path, and base this on your own true interest. Because you should not really have only, titles and money as your driver, but because that can make you good, but what make you really, really good is your personal interest. And if you don't have a personal, deep interest in what you're doing, it's going to be hard. It's going to be taking a lot of energy to make you really good at that.
Well, I assume it also is eventually is transparent. If you aren't passionate about what you're doing, you can't hide that for long, of course. And so making sure that you make that right decision from the beginning is important. So if someone's decided now they're going to go for the job, they've identified the job that they want, how do you prepare your CV to stand out to get you to the next stage?
Oh, it all depends a bit on where you are in your career. If you're a new person into the career, or if you're young and you don't have that much work experience, I mean, less can be more. Remember, the recruiter's there to sort of match your CV with the open role, right? So if you clutter down a lot of words and make a messy CV just to sort of compensate for your lack of experience, then your uniqueness, or the reason for you to actually apply for that role, might actually get missed out. But with that, obviously, make sure that you have a structured, clean CV that shows everything that's needed. I've seen a lot in gaming, actually, where people successfully scrap the cover letter and just add, a few sentences on top of the CV, which for me, as a punctual reader, less text, just basic information works fantastic with me. Short sentences introducing yourself. And then you highlight, obviously, your personal strengths, your achievements, your experience professionally, your personal interests, degrees if you have that. But again, it's make it easy for the recruiter or the recruiting manager to find you in this CV. And if you've done something really well, don't be shy. We're looking for, if you're doing like what it is that you're doing really well, make sure you can angle that so it matches the role description. So you might be a natural leader, you might be a fantastic team player, and if you're going to work in a team, why not highlight it? You might be fantastic in problem solving. Give us an example of what you've been doing to solve a problem. And achievements. I mean, doesn't matter how big or small. If you have achieved something that might, that the recruiter might pick up on, then that could be your key as well. And this.
So your CV is not the time to be shy. It's the opportunity to explain yourself as articulately as possible and as concisely as possible, but also to blow your own trumpet, for want of a better phrase.
I would say so, and especially, like, everyone is unique. What is unique about you, Trudy? Give that. Can you let me know in a CV that everybody loves hanging out with friends and going to the gym, but not me personally, but there are standard things that people really love to do. If you have a specific interest that would sort of catch my eye, then you already got me, and I might sort of look deeper into that. I mean, I'm going to work with you. If there's something unique with you that I can learn from, then that's amazing.
That's great. Well, listen, I want to ask you one last thing, because of course, Heidi, I know that anybody who's listening to this and wants to get in touch with you can, and we'll make those details available. But just one last point. How do I make the right impression in an interview? So I've gotten my way through, I've chosen the career, I've looked out for the right job, I've put my CV out there, I've been invited to come for an interview. How do I make the right impression? What are the good things and bad things that you do in an interview?
So, I mean, if you apply for a role with my company, I want you to want to be working with me. So the more well-read you are on my company, the more I will be impressed, right? So study the company, prepare yourself, and practice. So I'll give some content. Study the company. Make sure you know where it is. Is it does it have offices in many geographical locations? Is it listed on the stock market? Then you have a fantastic way in. There are quarterly reports you can read up on. You can even match it with your own values. If you feel like your values are met, then this is a company for you to apply for. Remember, it's not only the company that is wanting a new person. You obviously want to have a company that suits you. And whilst being so read up on the subject, I mean, use this in your in the interview, and so that you and the recruiter can kickstart a discussion rather than the recruiter just telling you a lot of information about the company as well. Make sure you understand and prepare yourself in terms of the role that you are applying for. So give some feedback in terms of what you have encountered on the sites or at the services. So let's say you're applying for a role in CRM. Sign up for those newsletters and campaigns with the operator, if it is an operator that you're applying for. Or if you're going to work in sports, study the sports section. And if you're going to work in CS, contact support. That's a good one. That's an easy one as well. Check the levels on how this company is doing things at this point. And then go in and sort of try to understand what's the purpose of the company, what's the purpose of this role that they're looking for, and when I join, how can I contribute to the successes of this company as well. I mean, it doesn't matter.
So
yeah.
It's all about preparation. It's in the preparation, making sure that you walk into that interview, that opportunity, knowing what you need to know.
Yes, because it gives you a self-confidence, and the recruiter doesn't only have the upper hand because you have previous experience maybe, but you have checked the site and you might have certain views and questions about things that actually matter. It's not only discussing the role in the CV, but also moving forwards, how we're going to make this magic.
Listen, Heidi, it's been great talking to you, and what great advice. I mean, absolutely fantastic. Brilliant for anybody who's thinking about their career right now and thinking about whether it's time to make a move and how they can go about making that move. Thank you for joining us here on SiGMA TV.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.